Hey everyone, welcome to Recipe for Reality. Zach is in the car on his way to a birthday lunch or dinner. It's dinner time. Wow,
It's
my day's been
six.
super
It's
long.
6 o'clock.
Um, how you doing, Zach? And hi,
I'm
Rachel. I
good.
know you're there too, Rachel.
Rachel, my wife is here. I feel like a person again. Don't worry, I'm being safe. I'm at a stoplight right now. That's why my hands aren't on the wheel. I'm at the stoplight. Everything's okay. But I'm
All right.
good. We
Yeah.
closed, Dylan. We both closed shows this week.
hmm
Me directing, you performing. Obviously not in the same show, but regardless, I got to see you in your show. It was awesome.
Thank
And
you.
so now I'm just
Um,
excited to be alive.
Yeah, I just want to say because of that, I don't have any graphics ready for it. It actually helps the fact that we both had Banu in the last spot, so we both are tied, or not tied, but we both get the same amount of points this week. And I don't have a thumbnail for this live video. I will make a thumbnail by the time that you guys are hearing this tomorrow, or by the time the episode's happening. But we wanted to make sure we got this out before the episode started. There's not really a lot to talk about though with the most recent episode because it was just
Pretty
kind of
quick.
it was the inevitable. I mean, it was really what the last episode had built to, where it was going to be Banu or Kenzie. This time, it was just Banu. There was no even other option because Banu didn't have a vote, and everyone was kind of sick of him. And it was really just kind of an hour and a half of just waiting for the inevitable to happen. So much so to where Jeff didn't even have them vote. I just want to get your quick thoughts on that. Do you think there should have still been a vote for posterity, or do you think because Banu was defenseless because he couldn't play a shot in the dark because he lost his vote, and Tiffany had the idol and basically said she wasn't going to play it for him? Do you think there's any reason why they still shouldn't vote? Because what if Q and Kenzie were planning to flip on Tiffany and blindside her? You know what I mean? And obviously they all must have signed off on it. But what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I think that it's pretty. We're in a pre-merge setting, so if anyone was trying to make some sort of move, and they were trying to like Kenzie and Q all of a sudden are getting together and trying to flip on Tiffany or vice versa. I mean, like it would have just they're all smarter game players than that. I think if there had been some drama or even some lead up to tribal with people being like, I don't know, we could make a move, like we really could keep Banu around. Like I think Q's the only person who really had any sort of like want to try and keep Banu around because I think he saw some merit. But the minute that he kind of like messes that up with Kenzie, I mean he's just a dead man walking and he's damaged goods at that point. So I don't think we're gonna see anything different. I don't mind it. I think you probably shouldn't forfeit the format.
Yeah.
But he has no shot in the dark. At the very least, like I would have much preferred if he would go vote. Everyone's okay with this. Everyone, like, if you would like to vote differently, please speak up now. And then
Right.
nothing happens like that. You
Yeah.
know, I think other than that, I'm fine with it. I don't
Yeah.
see any other way for that to happen.
The only problem now is though in the future, if they're all like, "Oh, it's an easy vote tonight. It's an easy vote tonight." You know, now if someone does say, "Wait, Jeff, I want to vote," now that kind of tips off that it's not an easy vote. So it's one of those things
Right.
where I think they should just always have a vote for posterity. And if you're Banu, like you
Right.
love this game so much, or you say you love this game so much, you want to see your name on that parchment if you're getting voted off.
Right.
If I get voted off of Survivor, I want to see that name on that parchment.
Right.
So it's kind of like one of those things where if you're going to go to this game and get the full experience, like let them just write your name down, even if it's going to happen, even if it's going to waste energy to climb up those stairs. Always have a vote because you never know, and that's my biggest thing with this episode. That's why I was upset with Jeff and his decision.
You do have to wonder if you know everything's done for the sake of television and whatnot. So you have to wonder if they did actually talk to them in their confessionals beforehand, and say like, hey, you know, this is what we're thinking for the episode tonight. Are you okay with this? Because I can't imagine that. Like, you know, if you're Banu, like I'm with you. I want to see my name written down. I want to climb up those steps for a reason. But you have to wonder if maybe even he signed off on it. He okayed it. He said like, hey, I don't need any more. Like they've already pretty much told me, let's just get it over with. So I can see a side of both. That wasn't even the focus for this episode. What was more the focus for me is how the power dynamics are kind of shifting on the other tribes, which is great because we haven't to see them really as much. So just getting some sort of feeling, you know, they're getting itchy. They're getting itchy. They want something to happen. So the fact that we're getting some new insight into kind of how Tevin's looking, how you know, the way that Hunter and the way that Tevin is kind of seeing. I told you, Dylan, if she made it past a week, she was gonna shoot up, and she has shot up. And I mean, the fact the fact that Timon's like, I don't know, I could work with Soda, but I kind of want to work with Venus and Liz a little
Yeah.
bit more. Like that was pretty crazy to me. And Venus, I think that quote from Venus, now thinking back, might be more of a hint. We're looking at a potential winner than anything else.
Yeah, and my only thing with Venus is that like she didn't get to talk in this episode, which I thought was weird. She was the only one who didn't get a confessional, but I do think it's because this tribe dynamic. I mean, it's hard when tribes keep winning. It's almost like this winning
Right.
tribeitis where like I don't really think they even know what they want to do because they haven't been to tribal. They don't know where the lines are. So like Tevin,
Right.
who's number one with Soda, he's now flipping on his number one already. And we see it working well for Hunter and Venus. This is good for them because Hunter
Right.
now said, "Oh, now I'm going to get rid of Tevin's number one, so I'm Tevin's number one." That's great for Hunter, but it's great for Tevin. No, and I really think this is where like winning so much makes someone like Tevin suffer in the game. And I think same for Green. I mean, we saw Jem have this really cool moment where she hid her idol clue to get everyone digging in another spot to put the suspicion off herself. But the problem is, once they realize that there is nowhere else to dig and that the idol has been found by someone else, and her whole plan is that she's going to pin it on Tim, that's great. But if you think Tim has an idol, you're not going to vote for Tim now. So
Right.
I'm worried that people are now going to vote for Jem because they're going to be like, well, Tim has an idol.
Right.
So I don't necessarily know if making it seem like someone else has an idol is a good thing. And I think it's just really, she's getting bored to make some mayhem. And I do think Jem
Right.
is a social player and a good enough player that it's not really going to come back to bite her
Yeah.
unless they really do go to tribal and Tim is able to push it on her. But I do think that this is just a product of them being kind of stir crazy and not getting to do anything and now having to make some moves, because I really don't know how this is going to work out for Jem in the long run, but I did like seeing it happen. It was funny. What were your thoughts on that scene of Jem hiding the idol clue in the where Carla on Twitter revealed that was their poop spot on 43, so that's kind of wild. They were digging through 43's poop. Gabler's shit is basically what they were digging through to find this idol that doesn't exist.
That sounds like 43 to me. That sounds like season 43. No, I mean, I think that our kind of read of Jem in the preseason and especially in these couple of, I mean, it shows that I like the fact that we are able to tell correctly, especially with a good amount of them, we are able to tell correctly kind of the vibes of who these players might be as actual players based off of these preseason interviews. I mean, it's a better tell than Big Brother. I love it. I love getting to see, we're getting to see some, maybe not villainous gameplay, but some, strategic and social gameplay. We don't know a lot about any of these other players that are not on the Purple Tribe. So the fact that we get to know at least a little bit about them gives me some sort of hope that we're going to, I mean, right now we're just basically waiting for a swap or a merge. And the longer we have to wait, the more bored we're going to be, especially now that Bhanu's gone. I mean, we can see maybe some like cool lines drawn with Tiffany, Q, and Kenzie, but they're only 3 people. So I mean, it's not even really that interesting at the end of the day. It's not as interesting as it could be. So now to get to see Jem and see her merit as a player, I'm just kind of in the same camp as you where it's like, I mean, why do that? You're only putting a little bit more suspicion on yourself because if they think somebody else has the idol, you become the target. But I'm curious how it will end up playing out in a merge scenario because she's still building allies. She is not the one on the bottom of that tribe. So at the very least, going into a merge scenario, I mean, if they never lose, she's never got to worry about it, and she can still, these idols are only good until a certain point, especially when it comes to merge. So we're looking at a potential like front runner now with Jem. The question is, does she fizzle out early or really pull through for a long game?
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about with the episode. Do you want to just get into our rankings? I know you have about 25 minutes, so let's rattle it through.
I'm going.
You're going really off the cuff.
I have my list written down. I can't look at it.
Right. Well,
but I think I have it memorized in a good enough spot that like I could go through pretty easily.
Yeah, well, who is the safest person this week? Who is not going home? Keep in mind, this is the last week before we get the weird mergatory. This is where the hourglass thing happens. So this is like the last week of the pre-merge, which is kind of crazy. So who is your pick of the safest person to make it to that mergatory phase?
Listen, man, she's been at the top every week, and it's for a reason. It's Tiffany.
That is mine as well.
If they go to tribal again, she either doesn't have to play it because she knows she's safe, but why wouldn't she play her idol? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think the reason is because Q likes Tiffany and Kenzie likes Tiffany, and I think Q and Kenzie are voting for one another. Spoiler alert, I don't think Purple's losing this week. I really do think this is kind of their way of saying we need to. I think all three of them are big enough characters that I think if one of them were to lose in the pre-merge, I think all three of them have strong enough edits where I just feel like all three of them are going to make this. I don't think it's going to be like Caleb and Emily. I think it's going to be like a solid 3 going into the merge. I'd like to believe they're going to win. I still have the other 2 very low, but I do have Tiffany at 1 for that reason. I think they're going to win, and even if they lose, she's the deciding vote. I don't even think she has to play her idol because I don't see a world where Q and Kenzie both decide to flip on her. I think they both see her as their number 1. So there's no reason. The only way I can see Q flipping on Tiffany is if Tiffany and because Bhanu told everyone that Tiffany and Q are a duo, but then Tiffany still has Kenzie. So I don't think Tiffany's going anywhere. Who's your number 2?
Number 2 is Hunter. Hunter is in the best possible position that he could be on that tribe. I mean, he's the reason that they keep winning challenges. Now Tevin wants to flip on his number 1. Hunter got these quotes saying, like, I'm going to be his number 1. I think that Hunter is in such a good position where he's flying under the radar enough as a social and a strategic threat because he's such an obvious, physical threat that I think they probably will begin to underestimate him from those scenarios, which then makes me think that in terms of longevity, he's got probably the best chance out of the guys. I think he's probably got the best longevity overall because he's going to be able to win comps, but he's also got enough connections that he's not going to be the first one that people start to go after, which I think will play to his strengths beautifully.
Yeah, the only reason I have Hunter lower is 2 reasons. One, this is the last vote before the merge. So, like, if they want to get out someone strong now, this is the chance to get out Hunter. And also because those tribe targets keep switching so frequently, I'm worried that the reason we haven't heard Hunter's name is because he's going to be one of those really surprising boots. I don't think it's this week, but I do think Hunter could be in for a shock soon. At number 2 and 3, just because they kind of go hand in hand, I have Maria and Charlie. I still think they're in control on green, even though Jem has one
3 and 4. That's my 3 and 4.
In that order, Maria and then Charlie?
Yes, Maria, then Charlie.
All right. Yeah, that's my order just because I think Maria has that extra vote, and I think her and Charlie are kind of in the driver's seat. If they are to lose, which I don't think Green's losing either, I think they're going to be the ones who decide where the tide goes. The only thing is that Jem has that knowledge over the 2 of them of where the idol is, but even then, I think she's going to use that to pull in Maria and Charlie, which is why I have Jem at 4. So who's your number 5?
Number 5 is Jem. You've just gone in my solid order, and for pretty much the same exact reason. You go your 5, and then I'll tell you my 6. And I'm not as confident going forward on all of these.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a weird. It could kind of be anything from this point on. Those top 5 are like I feel solid. I don't think we're seeing them go anywhere just now. Everyone kind of after is very like. Okay.
Yeah, I can see a situation where every single other person goes, and so much so to where actually in replacement of Hunter, I have Tevin at 5. So he's part of that 5 that I think is safe. Like I don't think anyone's going to turn on Tevin because I think as much as he wants to get out. As much as he wants to get out Soda, I don't think Soda wants to get out him. I don't think Hunter wants to get out him. Even Venus is going to go for Soda or Hunter before she goes for Tevin. So my whole thing is like, I think Tevin is in control of that vote, but I do worry he's going to be a threat come merge. But after that 5, I agree. I think it gets harder to say who's safer. I do have Ben at 6 just because I don't see a reason to get rid of Ben right now. He's the vibes guy. He's on everyone's good side. I think he's kind of just floating his way to the finale at this point, unless they just see him as a social threat. So I have Ben at 6. But again, like I don't know. It's very from here on down. Like I really think there's a case where any one of these people could go home.
I'll send you my list just so you know that I'm not like just one for one.
No, you're good, man.
But Ben is also 7 again. But it's again for like the same reasons. I just don't think that Ben has any sort of. Sorry, there is someone in a Liberty tax suit, and it is hilarious. It's also pouring right here. I also have, but for the same reasons and similar reasons, I feel like Ben just has cemented himself so well in the ranks with everyone. He might be an easy boot at some point or another if, they're worried about someone having an idol and wanting to not kind of make waves and push someone else out. But I don't think that, I don't see him being enough of a threat where they will try and take him out. He falls literally at the halfway mark for me. Because of that reason, he could either be a safe boot or he's just going to coast from here on out.
Cool. Just so I know you're not copying me, who's your 8, Zach?
8 is Liz.
Oh my god, my 7 is Liz.
Followed by Venus at 9. Venus at 9.
I don't have Venus at 9, so we're finally departing there.
I'm holding to what I said. Venus and Liz are both up a little bit higher. Venus was the main one, but Tevin's kind of thought process around working with Venus and Liz really has put me onto this idea of Liz, especially if we are kind of entering Mergatory. Liz is going to be a great person to just kind of carry along.
Yeah.
And because of that, I mean, there's no reason to get rid of her over someone like Tim in a Mergatory situation, or even like I just don't see I don't see her being the focus if that tribe goes to tribal, because now I think things are just going to get chaotic between Tevin and Hunter and Soda.
Yeah.
And Venus kind of is, and Venus is only a step lower. I'm keeping her higher. I think she's got a redemption arc coming on. I said I would keep her higher if she made it through the week, and she sure did.
Yeah,
But I
this is
really
the rare week where I have Venus lower than you, surprisingly. I have her 10,
ever.
so like not that farther down,
It's
but
not really that much,
only because I really don't know who the target is there. I mean, I
right?
guess it's Soda based on what we've seen in the edit, but it wasn't Soda the week before. Venus was
Right.
throwing Hunter's name out. So that's why, okay, so at 8, I have Mariah. So I put her there only because I don't think Green's going to tribal. And she had this really sweet moment where she was learning how to jump this week, which really didn't mean anything in the challenge because they were jumping off something. She didn't have to jump up for something. So all she really had to do was step off of it. She didn't have to even
Right.
jump. But I think Mariah is someone that I just don't see why they would take her out now, because tribe strength doesn't really matter when you're going into Mergatory. So if they lose, I don't think they would get rid of her for strength, because they don't need strength when it comes to merge. If anything, they want the opposite. They want Mariah there at the merge. And then at 9, I have Hunter. That's where I put him, just because I do think there's a world, just because a few episodes ago, Venus was talking about potentially cutting Hunter. There's just a deep, dark side of me that's like, what if Hunter is this shocking boot? For those who watch Survivor Gabon, I mean, Marcus was everyone's winner pick headed into the merge, and the week before the merge, they got rid of him. And this season has very much reminded me of Gabon, because I really don't think a lot of these players are playing particularly well. I think it's a very clusterfuck season, to where I really could see this being another Gabon situation where Hunter ends up going home pre-merge and everyone's like, what the hell? So I have him at 9 and I have Venus at 10, just because I think Venus is going to make the merge based on what the edit is suggesting, but based on her place in the tribe, she is still not necessarily everyone's number 1 yet. So I have to be realistic about it. But I agree with you. I think if she can make it 1 tribal, I'm going to put her higher. And I do love Venus still. I'm rooting for her. Who's your
Right.
number 10?
Number 10 is Mariah.
Okay.
For all of the reasons, I still am not 100% on how I feel about Mariah. Like, she is not, I don't know her. I don't necessarily know if she has like a strong place in the edit that is this. Like, I think she kind of, and this could come back to bite me at some point or another. She reminds me of Heather from 41, where
Yeah.
like I know she's there, but I don't necessarily know what she's doing. And we found out later on, once the season, finished, that Heather actually was way more of a player to the actual tribe mates than to us as an audience,
Good
which
point.
I think holds some merit for Mariah. But like, I just don't know enough about her. I once again think that she can be a potential very easy boot moving forward. And because of that, I just don't. Again, I'm thinking about who has any sort of longevity moving forward. She is just unfortunately not one that I feel as though has a lot of longevity in the long run.
So our 6 to 10 are all kind of people a little iffy about, but I think this bottom 4, we both have the same bottom 4, and I think it's for a reason.
Yep.
So we both think if green loses, it's going to be Tim. If orange loses, it's going to be Soda, and if purple loses, it's either Q or Kenzie. The question is,
Yes.
where do we put them? It's basically, who do we think is going to lose? So I'll let you go next with your 11. Who's your 11?
Okay. I am very much also in the camp of, I do think that this is Purple's week to win.
Me too.
So I have
Same exact rankings.
I have Kenzie and Kenzie and Q at 11 and 12.
In that order?
I've been back and forth about where to put them. I think I'm gonna go with my gut and put Q at 12 and Kenzie at 11.
Oh, so Kenzie's safer.
Only because Tiffany might take the hint of, well, Bonnie really threw me and Q as a duo under the bus. I want to kind of get that idea out of people's heads so they feel like I'm more of a I'm more potential to work with coming into a merge situation. and I know, like, I'm still not 100% sold on
No,
that reasoning.
That is exactly what I was thinking. You read my mind, brother, because I at 11 have Kenzie and 12 I have Q, because I do think once Tiffany here heard that Bhanu said that they were a duo, Tiffany's gonna say, if they lose, Tiffany's gonna say, if I'm with Q in the merge, neither of us are gonna make it
We're a
out.
duo, and we're
Because
done
because
for.
even if one of us goes home, the other's on the jury. If she goes in with Kenzie, who's not a duo, then there's a chance you can either throw Kenzie under the bus and still
Right.
work with her for everyone else, or you can rope in more numbers. If you're in a duo in the merge, that's scary. And that's why I think, honestly, if they were to lose, it'd probably be the best thing for Tiffany. But I
It would be
really
a
hope they
great
don't
move for
lose.
Tiffany.
But for that reason, I also have Q going out too. I think if Purple loses, Tiffany has to take
Yeah.
out Q, because
Yeah.
he's the person that she's being paired up with. And if she goes to the merge with Q over Kenzie, it's going to be even more obvious to everyone else. Oh, she voted out Kenzie, as we predicted. Tiffany's dangerous. And I really worry that Tiffany's going to go with her heart and pick Q. But I really think the edit is making us really want to pay attention to Kenzie as like this lethal viper. Hence why she was my winner pick. Okay, so we both have the same bottom two too. Who do you think's losing? Is it green? Is it orange?
Soda is orange.
Soda's orange.
I think orange loses.
Shit, we have the same bottom four. But I agree. Yeah, Tim goes home if it's green. I think he's being set up to be framed for Gem's not accident, but her big play. The only thing is, back when Gem found that idol, it said, if you do not lose by the merge, more instructions will be provided. And why in the world would we, the audience, be seeing that if they're gonna lose? So that's my whole thinking. And then Soda, I think, is just, they're setting her up to be this kind of blind. She's going to be blindsided, but the audience, I don't think, is going to be very blindsided.
The audience is going to kind of finally feel that relief of like, okay, we don't need to worry about this anymore, because they've been kind of setting it up like that, right? Where we're loving Soda more and more and more. The tribe is not loving Soda as much, and so we're battling like, oh, what's going to happen if she makes the merge? Is she going to make the merge? Are we going to have to feel? And I think that this is finally going to be that, like, all right, well. That sucks, but we get to, we get to think about X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, and I think if Hunter does go on to win the season, the fact that he said, I want Soda gone because it makes me Tevin's number one, not her, that is such like a winner's mentality, because you have to do that. If there's someone you're working with who's also close to someone else, you have to cut that someone else to be closer to the person. And that's perfect strategy for Hunter. My only worry is that because this tribe is such a clusterfuck, that like, what if Venus, Soda, and Liz come together and say, hey, Tevin and Hunter are kind of tight. Let's take out Hunter. That's my big worry. But there's also the question of the idol. We don't know who's going to get it on orange because Randon's gone. Do you think there's a chance Soda could find it, or do you think I think this is setting it up for Venus to find it, but I don't know.
I think they're either setting it up for Venus to find it or for Soda to find it and make a big move with it.
Yeah, if Soda finds it though, that could be the most interesting outcome, because then I don't even know if she would take out Venus. I think Venus would try to find a way to flip Soda, and then at that point, I have no idea. I really think it's going to be a fun episode no matter what. Yeah. And if Purple loses, I think that's going to be the most boring outcome, because it's going to just be Tiffany choosing, which is going to be dramatic, but at a point we're just going to be like, all right, she's just got to choose one of them, So I know you got to get to dinner, but thank you for hopping on. Anything else?
Course. I mean, listen, it's quick, but the episode of 90 minutes that was basically just centered around being like, all right, well, nothing's happening right now, but get ready for when things do happen. I think that was cool. I'm excited to see what happens in this episode, because I think there is a world where, like, we're looking for intrigue now. Like, we're like, all right, because Purple losing would just be boring. And even though watching Tiffany kind of maneuver that would be cool, I think it would be more interesting to watch Tiffany kind of maneuver out of a merge situation where she has both Kenzie and Q, and she has to navigate around Kenzie while navigating around the fact that people think her and Q are a duo. I think that's going to be really interesting, and I think that's I think that's what they're setting us up to see. It's just a question of how much we're actually going to be right.
Yeah, I'm very excited to watch. I have something to go to tonight too, so I won't be watching it till later. So don't text me any spoilers, but thank you, Zach, for this, and I will let you go. You can check out our socials down below. We'll plug what we're working on next week, because we got something coming up in the works for any local Jerseyans. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and bye, Rachel, bye, Zach, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.